think and act as if everyone disagrees with their ideas all the time, because that challenges your intellect. So if you disallow certain speech, you can't have your professor say, okay, the Holocaust wasn't real, prove me wrong. And then the students have to work to do that, because that makes you really think and think about how to counter that argument. What are you going to give that person that counters it? What are you going to say to demolish it? But, well, we can't say that because, it will trigger somebody. So, so then they never get exposed to things that challenge them, to ideas that they don't agree with.
So there's something I've been keeping quiet about for the past month as I've been a little bit busy with everything, but I'd like to share with you now as I feel it to be appropriate. I was supposed to be filling in for ex-YouTuber Anti-Ordinate on a live show run by Godless, Cranium and Shannon Q to have a discussion about gender with Deconverted Man. Now the show went ahead but I wasn't present, so what gives exactly? Well, I had a previous encounter with Deconverted Man on my channel before. I'd caught Deconverted Man editing my video to change and more accurately completely remove my arguments, so I did what I do and documented this fact in a video. Well, Deconverted Man did not take very kindly to this display of his behaviour and resorted to harassing me, to the point that I made the decision not to waste any more time on him and blocked his ignorant ass on YouTube. The only reason I even considered having a conversation with him this time was because Godless, Cranium and Shannon Q are friends who were in a tight spot and I knew they could moderate well. So I accepted, and Godless Cranium went off to let Deconverted Man know and ask if it was okay for me to replace Anti-Ordinary. Well, here's what Godless Cranium got back to me with, which was apparently Deconverted Man's response. Quote, EOT, on a few conditions he would have to agree to. 1. He states if he is or is not a feminist and / or SJW. And 2. He agrees to pull down his video about my video since I took mine down, given he has me blocked. Doing those two things will resolve my issues with him as they stand. He can keep me blocked for all I care. If he will not agree to those things, perhaps you and I can talk about the topic. End quote. Now I need to be absolutely clear. Godless, Cranium and Lady Unicorn, who ended up taking the spot I'd accepted, are faultless in all of this. They did a wonderful job with the situation they were faced with. But what I found incredibly hypocritical of Deconverted Man was the fact that in the change, the debate topic was expanded to include the topic of free speech, of which Deconverted Man stands as an unfiltered, you can say what you like and face zero repercussions sort of person, going so far as to defend Milo Yiannopoulos showing a picture of a trans student at that university, a student by the way who was in attendance, showing their picture on screen and promoting harassment of them. Now, as an extra note not mentioned in the discussion, Milo also threatened to publicly name undocumented students at another one of his talks at a different university.
Yeah, I think that the University of Chicago has taken a good stand, although it's unclear whether they'll continue that stand or not, in saying we want everyone to think and act as if everyone disagrees with their ideas all the time, because that challenges your intellect. So if you disallow certain speech, you can't have your professor say, okay, the Holocaust wasn't real, prove me wrong. And then the students have to work to do that, because that makes you really think and think about how to counter that argument. What are you going to give that person that counters it? What are you going to say to demolish it? But, well, we can't say that because, it will trigger somebody. So, so then they never get exposed to things that challenge them, to ideas that they don't agree with.
So, Deconverted Man, is this a situation that has happened that you know of, or is it just a hypothetical that you're thinking could happen?
The scenario I gave is a hypothetical, but things like this have happened where, say Milo Yiannopoulos was protested at Berkeley, they trashed the place.
Yes, he actually actively targeted a specific trans student at some school or other.
That might be the case, but he still can speak, and then you could say, let's debate him. Why should he be given that platform at a university? Why should he be prevented from it? Because he brings, and again, the thing is, I said, you bring ideas out there to the open, you expose them, and then you say,
You want to let me answer your
challenge.
question?
Hmm.
You want to know why I think Milo should not have a platform on a campus? Because his tour, he specifically was set out of his way to try to offend people, to try to upset people. Not it was incidentally, not his ideas were offensive. He was going out of his way to do things that were known to shut down critical thinking. The entire point was to keep the people who disagreed with him from being able to be and be seen as rational, so that he could then turn around and see, look, these people aren't rational. That is not an intellectual discussion. On top of that, he had actually targeted a specific student in one instance and caused that student to have further harassment. So I do not see a reason why that particular person should be continued to be granted educational or intellectual platform in that sense. I don't necessarily think he shouldn't be able to speak. I just don't know why it should be granted in that kind of context when he's shutting down the very things that should be prized there.
Because apparently students need to be singled out and harassed by neo-Nazis in order to learn how to critically examine their own views. Now, Deconverted Man went on to ask how harassing a member of a demographic that is routinely victim of targeted violence shuts down debate. But what I'm getting at here and now is the bloated hypocrisy behind stating trans people should just get over targeted harassment, whilst he tries to use the difficult situation Godless Cranium was put in after a guest pulled out and my friendship to Godless Cranium as a means to try and have criticism of himself removed. So as you can likely guess when the fact that I did not appear and my video is up, once the initial shock of what had just been attempted had dispelled, I refused to meet Deconverted Man's demands outright. And this is a reoccurring experience I have with many on the right who label themselves free speech advocates. They don't actually want free speech as they pretend. They want the right to harass others and never be called out on it. It's the idea of free speech for me and my friends, but not those I deem lesser, which is anyone critical of me. Fact is, another user chimed in stating that I apparently won't talk to someone unless they're part of my quote, religion, conflating working towards equality under feminism with a faith-based doctrine centered around the supernatural. It's funny yet sad to see just how detached these people really are. It's also disturbing to see just how gleeful Deconverted Man was over the fact that no, I wouldn't be removing my criticism of his very dishonest methods just to talk with him. This was posted on the day that I told Godless Cranium that I would not be removing my video, and it's Deconverted Man tweeting the following, quote, "A true social justice warrior pretends to care about topics until they are forced to choose between talking on that topic and doing something they do not want to do. Then they will choose to not talk about the topic." End quote. Well, first of all, the choice wasn't between talking to you on the topic or doing something I don't want to do. It was between not doing the thing I refuse to do and thus not talking to you, or compromising myself in doing said thing and thus talking to you. I chose that you're not worth compromising my values over. Deal with it. You're an ignorant twerp and I can respond to any number of your videos if I thought there was anything of value to be had in said conversation. Again, the only reason I considered going on a live show with you was on the basis of who was asking me for a favour. But anyway, I just wanted to document this occurrence as it happened behind closed doors, and I believe a degree of transparency is needed on some of the decisions both Udita and I make together on this channel. When it comes to someone trying to leverage us to remove evidence of their dishonest methods, we will always opt against doing so. Myself and Udita have a degree of integrity to uphold. Oh, and just one more thing for Deconverted Man. I am a feminist, I am a social justice warrior. That's hardly a secret, you bloody tool. Hi there. I'd just like to say a few things here at the end of the video before you go. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who's ever donated to the channel via Patreon, giving a special thanks to the following people: Hannah Banghart, Matthew Kovac, John Schoenrock, Daniel Martinez, and Alexander Williams. Your support has ensured this channel's ability to grow over the years. I'd also like to ask that you comment down below and like this video, as well as subscribe, hit the bell icon, and follow Essence of Thought on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please also consider following Atheist Alliance International on Facebook, a humanist organisation dedicated to helping atheists around the globe. Lastly, I'd like to request that you treat the people responded to in this video with a reasonable degree of respect. Whilst we understand that there are justifiable limits to said respect when tackling certain heavy topics and anger can be a very genuine emotion in fighting injustice, any comments utilising language which insults others on the basis of perceived gender, sexuality, ethnicity or ability both mental and physical will be removed immediately and the commenter may be blocked on the moderator's discretion. Let's work to keep this space one which upholds the values of humanism. Thank you.